There are many reasons why you should do the Master of Research here at Western Sydney University. The first is the interdisciplinary nature of the degree. When you begin your journey in the Master of Research, you'll sit in a room with people and other students from all over the place, all over across the university. So if you're studying philosophy, you'll be sitting next to engineers or people doing medical science. And when you come together, when you bring people together from all these different backgrounds, you actually learn to see the world differently. You learn to communicate across disciplines, communicate with people that have very different views of the world to you. And that's an incredibly powerful skill to have.
I chose the Master of Research because I thought it would be a really good program to kind of get me prepared for a PhD. I really wanted to kind of pursue research as a career, and I thought that it was a nice holistic degree and multidisciplinary as well, which could help my research further and kind of prepare me for what research culture was going to be like.
I think the Master of Research is suitable for anybody because you can really take whatever research you want to do from whatever field. And we were in a classroom with people from the medical sciences and from STEM. There were people from humanities. Everyone's ideas were relevant, and it was so important to be able to share that.
The kind of people who should be thinking about undertaking a Master of Research or any kind of research degree is someone who feels like their thirst for knowledge remains unquenched at the end of their undergraduate degree. Someone who, feels like they've touched or just kind of scraped the surface of what there is to know out there.
You can do the best research in the world, but if it sits on a shelf somewhere in the shape of a thesis, you'll be ignored. The question is, how do you take that thesis and communicate it? How do you take your findings, communicate them, and make sure that they have impact?
The MRes made me a better communicator, particularly with my writing. I became a really proficient writer, both academically and for a public audience. And that's probably really helped me in my PhD now, communicate what my research is about to people, and also writing a thesis.
One of the things that when I came on board with this degree that I asked a lot of my colleagues about was, what do you wish you'd been taught when you went through honours and when you went through your PhD program that you learned the hard way in the years afterwards? And the most dominant theme in the responses to that question was, well, I wish I'd been told what research was really like. I wish somebody had told me what the process of going through a research project and trying to build and maintain a career in research was really like.
It's also really important in terms of being a researcher for the 21st century and being able to effectively communicate your research findings and what you want to do. And this is all about making sure that your research has impact not only within an academic sphere but also has an impact in the real world.
Getting a Master of Research, it doesn't only qualify you to do work in a specific disciplinary area, but we're pretty sure that any employer, if they understand what it is that you've been put through, the kind of training that you've been put through in the Master of Research, they're going to see that you're a person who can solve problems, who can work independently, who can think creatively.
This is designed specifically to be a research pathway. This is not meant to finish your research career or be the culmination of your research career. We want you to take these skills and use your research to contribute to the world at large. So it is the sort of thing that whether you want to be a researcher in the private sector or the public sector, this is the degree that will take you there.
And one of the things that we've found with people entering into PhD programs without this kind of training is that suddenly having to write a huge amount to support and then defend your thesis is quite daunting. And the Master of Research gives you an opportunity to experience what writing a substantial document is like, but also the training so that you're going into a PhD program with the experience of already having mounted an argument in defence of a thesis. We think it's invaluable and that it makes you a much, much stronger PhD candidate, not just here at Western Sydney, but in any other PhD program around the world.
And will realistically help you in whatever employment you engage in for the rest of your life.
Simultaneously, you improve your research skills and your disciplinary knowledge. So while you're improving all the research skills you need to be an excellent researcher, you're also getting a chance to deep dive into the areas that you're most interested in, the type of knowledge that you really want to follow. And that's really exciting. So those two skills are taught simultaneously, and it's actually one of the great things about being here at this university.
In the Master of Research, in a full-time trajectory, what you have is 2 years of full-time study to complete. And this means that you get time to develop ideas, time to deepen your understanding of your field of research and time to ask other questions, deeper questions about your research problem to figure out why it matters or how it can contribute to our understanding of certain things. So for me, time is the big advantage of the Master of Research.
I've worked with students that were doing an honours program, and I think one of the hardest things for them is managing coursework and their thesis at the same time. It's very stressful. We had an extra year when we were doing coursework to develop our ideas and refine them and think about what approach we wanted to take, and to tease with different ideas of what might work and what might not. And I think that when we get to our thesis year, then we're more confident. And even attending conferences and speaking to people, you can speak about your research in a way that makes you sound like you're really, really confident and you know exactly what you're doing.
When I first kind of was thinking about doing the MRes, it was a little bit daunting. I'm like, I could do an honours and that's 1 year. Why am I going to spend 2 years kind of doing this stuff? But looking back, I'm really happy because it's multidisciplinary, I learned a lot about lots of different things that I wouldn't have known about otherwise, qualitative research over quantitative research and things like this. I also gained expertise in my research area, specialised expertise, which is really helpful, and learnt how to manage a project on my own for 9 months. So I think those skills have kind of really helped me out, and looking back, I'm happy I chose that option rather than the easier kind of 1 year option, because now I'm a better researcher for it.
There's a lot of help for students. I'm a first in family student, so for me coming to Western was a big step, and there was a lot of support, and I knew that doing my postgrad that I would have the same support as what I did in my undergrad.
If you've got just an inkling of a passion for research, you should definitely do the MRes. That's probably one of the things I got out of it most, is I became much more passionate about research. I chose the MRes because I wanted to do research as a career, but I didn't realise how excited I would be about research after I had completed the MRes.
A lot of people think that research is simply reading something or asking questions. Research is about cultivating curiosity, and this is a fascinating part of doing a research degree such as a Master of Research, that you get to cultivate this curiosity, but not only in the area you're interested in, but working with people from different disciplines means that you all take a journey together to see the world differently and learn so much more.